What's a great approach from a security vendor? Go.
Security vendors, they need to play the long game. Most CISOs have a very fine-tuned filter when it comes to transactional conversations. And so CISOs are going to buy from people that they trust and they like.
It's time to begin the CISO Series podcast.
Welcome to the CISO Series podcast. My name is David Spark. I am the producer of the CISO Series. Joining me as my co-host since day one, it's Mike Johnson, the CISO of Rivian. Mike, say hello to the audience.
Hello, audience. Great to be with you again.
He enjoys being with you.
I even waved.
I want you to know, off the microphone, he is just vitriolic. He goes, oh, God, do I have to talk to these people again?
No, thanks, David.
No, he doesn't do that.
Good.
He is as charming on the microphone as off the microphone.
Oh, thank you, David.
We are available at CISOseries.com. Mike, you know that. I know that. I will tell you, for a brief period of time, nobody knew that because there was a Cloudflare outage. But we're back in action.
We were well past that today, but it was a dark time.
We're well past that today. Our sponsor for today's episode is Vanta, phenomenal sponsor of the CISO Series. Automate compliance, manage risk, and accelerate trust with AI. We'll explain exactly how Vanta is doing just that a little bit later in the show. Mike, I sent an email today that began, "You 1000% suck."
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right. Now, if that's a teaser...
Yeah, let's see where this goes.
I don't know what is. Everybody wants to know why I sent an email that began, "You 1000%.
I want to know.
I canceled a service.
Mm-hmm.
I got an email because it was very difficult to cancel. I know that some people have had trouble.
Was it SiriusXM?
No, it was not SiriusXM.
Okay.
It's a service we use for the business. We used to use for the business.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an email saying that they were going to charge my credit card for another year.
Oh, my gosh.
And I go, I canceled this service. Now and then they said, "Oh, we're so sorry you feel this way. You can go to the settings and go check for yourself." There is nothing on the setting that shows you cancel. And then when you go to select cancel, there's nothing to show that you did cancel, nor do you receive an email that says you canceled.
Ooh.
And you can cancel 20 times in a row and it still won't say it.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I get a bunch of emails telling me that they're sorry with the way I'm feeling, not I'm sorry that our service by default alerts you that they're going to charge you again. And so this, of course they know they do this. They have not turned this off. And they said, "Oh, well," and so I get a mention, "Oh, well, this is just an automatic thing that goes out." It goes, that automatic thing that goes out should not be going out to the people who have canceled their service.
You'd think.
Hence, you 1000% suck.
Bringing the story to
Sounds
closure.
like a bad ex-girlfriend.
That's John Barrow, who is the CISO of JB Poindexter, our guest. You said it sounds like a bad ex-girlfriend. Here's my question to you, John. Have you, quote, canceled with a girlfriend and they want to renew for another year?
Yes. I won't go into the details, but yes, it was a very interesting time.
Well, hopefully they didn't charge your credit card.
Yeah.
Let me reiterate, that is our guest for today. He is the CISO for JB Poindexter and Company, none other than John Barrow. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Should you hire this person?
Quote, security people struggle because AI doesn't behave like systems they know. You can't firewall a prompt injection. You can't patch a model that leaks training data through its outputs. Now, this is from Chris Matthews of Prezi. The AI talent shortage, he says, requires people who are both a security professional and an engineer. Security folks can't threat model what they don't understand architecturally. AI engineers treat security as something to bolt on after deployment. And the unicorn who's actually red teamed an AI product in production, who knows? 3 other companies are trying to hire that person right now. If that person doesn't really exist yet, how do you find and train the person who can learn to do the thing that nobody fully understands right now? So, Mike, I throw this to you. What does that hiring process even look like? You need someone to do all these sort of AI security things, but no one's coming out of the box having that skill.
The reality is you don't hire unicorns, you build them. Like, this is the thing that we do time and time again.
Right.
Whenever there's a technology shift, there's always this period of time where security is working to catch up. And we're in that cycle again. So this is a matter of find your skilled security engineers who are already using AI. They're already there, and train them.
I feel in a situation like this is a hire within situation because you got to have the people who are not a hire from outside.
Absolutely. That is a bonus, right? Where if you train somebody up within your team, they have context, they have business awareness, business acumen, they know what's where. And it then gives a message to the rest of your team that you're willing to invest in your team. So there's so many opportunities by doing this, going and hiring somebody that you're probably paying a premium for. And it's still going to actually take months to come up to speed, by the way, because they're going to need to learn the context. They'll bring potentially the AI security aspect, but you have to train them on the context. So you're really just picking your battle here of, I would rather train somebody who has the context rather than try and teach somebody who has the knowledge, the context.
That's a really good point.
I agree and disagree.
Okay.
I agree that you do need to build your internal like champions for AI with engineers and whatnot, but also it depends on the size of the company and your team as well, right? Like with us, we have a pretty lean team, and there's no way our current engineers would have time to do this as well. And my thought is, unless you have a team that's solely dedicated to AI, you're really going to be challenged to be successful. Because my engineers, I mean, their plate's over full, right? Like they don't have any additional cycles. But I think it depends on the organization. I mean, if you have a larger team, that may make sense. And I think you do need over time to build, like I said, internal resources that are those experts. But I think it needs to be, you need to have outside help as well for guidance, right?
But wouldn't your team, let me throw this back at you, John, wouldn't your team relish the opportunity to move to that area and have someone else from the outside take over their responsibilities? I mean, I got to assume there would be people like that.
No, I think they would love that, but then the work they're doing now doesn't get accomplished, right? Like the run and maintain and, a lot of that gets missed.
Well, I'm just saying that where are you hiring from? It's like one of those situations, we got to fill this position. I either can move a person up that already works here, move them up into that position, and then fill that position that person left, or the other way around, hire from outside. Which do you think is easier to do?
I mean, I think it depends on the speed, how quick you want to move. I think if you want to move quickly and you want to really start embracing AI as fast as possible, I think you need to hire from outside. But I think if you're being more methodical and you have more time, then yeah, I think you can build out that team internal, but it's going to take time. I mean, I think it depends on the speed, how fast you want to move.
Is this a good idea?
The CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, is both too broad and too narrow. It lacks the vocabulary and context to handle today's realities, end quote. This is Loris Gutik of CISO Online poking the bear when he called the CIA triad, quote, Cold War relic that's masochistically forcing security teams to retrofit modern concepts into a rigid 1970s structure. He argues the target doesn't speak to authenticity or accountability and has no room for resilience or engineering for failure mindsets. Most people in cybersecurity are fans of CIA. It's foundational. It's taught everywhere. But just because something is a standard doesn't mean it can't crack over time. I will ask you, John, is the CIA triad still getting the conceptual job done?
I think everything rolls up to the CIA triad, but I don't think it's not in the forefront of my mind as I'm implementing things or as I'm building out the program. I'm not thinking, okay, where does this fall under CIA,
And it's not something you hammer home with your team then?
No, I mean, honestly, the last time I actually mentioned CIA was probably when I was studying for the CISSP. But yeah, but everything does roll up to it. I think it's still relevant, but I don't think it's leaders, cyber leaders and teams are like stopping and it's like, wait a minute, where does this fit under the triad? Like you're not thinking that way. But I think you have to make sure everything is done the right way, right? And I mentioned on earlier I know that this is kind of a pivot, but the human element. I mean, the only way you're going to be successful in any program is to make sure that you're building those relationships internally with all the business leaders, with your executive leadership team, your C-suite, the board, and also that you understand the business and that you understand that in order for you to be successful and best protect the company, you have to have those relationships. You have to have that trust built. You have to communicate transparently and honestly. That's really how we've been able to move the needle in my program is with any major change or whatever, we over communicate. We explain the why. We allow people to raise concerns and ask questions, and we test the heck out of it. I mean, we have a huge test group that we test for several weeks and make sure that doesn't break anything because we really want to minimize that operational impact because the business exists to make money, right? And so as a cybersecurity leader, yes, you want to best protect the company, but there's a lot of times where you got to kind of balance that where it's like, okay, with my cyber hat on, I know this is what I should be doing, but the business won't accept that, right? So you gotta kind of balance that. And I know that's a kind of a left turn or a pivot from CIA triad, but I think that aligns with that. I mean, I've been at programs where they come in with an iron fist and like, you will do this, you will not do this, and it doesn't work. They don't build those relationships. They don't communicate. They don't really explain the why. They just come in and say, we're security and you have to do this. It's usually not successful.
That's a really good point. And I think you're the one who said this, Mike, on a previous show. We did a post a while ago and I said, is there anything in cybersecurity that is set it and forget it? And you said, at one point I believed it was ethics, but I don't even think that's set it and forget it. And kind of like what you just said, John, like there is no iron hand. As much as you would like CIA to stay rigid, it would be nice. It doesn't apply to the business world. Again, is what John was saying. Agree? Disagree?
What I like about what John was saying is the flexibility of the CIA concept allows you to have those conversations with the business and be consistent with them. If you keep changing how you're talking with the business, that's going to be a problem. Everything in security is about those relationships that you've built. And I do think the value of CIA is that it is extremely high level. And basically, you can find a home for everything if you really need to. And that's really where the value comes, is it is flexible. Too broad, I don't think so. I really genuinely think that its broadness is its advantage. And that allows you to be able to, when you need to break down into a conversation and you're having a meeting with a fellow business leader and like, well, why is this a security thing? Well, think about the confidentiality of this data. Like it just almost rolls off of your tongue because it is so baked into how we think. And it allows you to have that framework that when you then talk with that business leader again, like, hey, remember we were talking about the confidentiality of this data, and it resonates with them because you're continuing to use the same terminology as part of those relationships because of the flexibility of the CIA concept.
Our sponsor this week is the phenomenal Vanta. And let me ask you a question. What's your 2 a.m. security worry? Is it, do I have the right controls in place? Or are my vendors secure? Or the really scary one, how do I get out from under these old tools and manual processes? That is where Vanta enters. Vanta automates manual work so you can stop sweating over spreadsheets, chasing audit evidence, and filling out endless questionnaires. Their trust management platform continuously monitors your systems, centralizes your data, and simplifies your security at scale. Vanta also fits right into your workflows, using AIs to streamline evidence collection, flag risks, and keep your program audit ready all the time. Not at just a point in time, but just continuously. So check it anytime. With Vanta, you get everything you need to move faster, scale confidently, and get back to sleep. You can get started if you go to their website. Go to vanta.com. That's VANTA.com/CISO. Do me a favor. Just add that /CISO in. Easiest way to let Vanta know you heard about them from the CISO series. Remember, vanta.com/CISO.
It's time to play What's Worse?
John, you're familiar with this game, yes?
Yes, I am.
All right, good. This comes from Dustin Sachs of Cyber Risk Collaborative. Your two scenarios. Scenario number one, your zero trust model blocks access to the company website to every third visit because you can't trust anyone, not even yourself. Or your zero trust model requires, get ready for this, 13-factor authentication, including voice recognition, retina scans, and dance challenge before you log in. So everyone does a 13-factor login or 1 out of 3 fail. Which one's worse, Mike?
Well, these are both, highly farcical.
Yes.
So I'm going to go, but my preference is the one that requires the dance challenge. Like I'm here for it.
So 13 factors. So here's the thing.
The first one doesn't have a dance challenge. That's the worst one. This is easy.
But hold on. 13 factors. Given the time it will take you to go through 13 factors, including the dance challenge.
It's secure because people will give up. You've got the most secure environment.
But then you'll get zero access.
Great. Security is solved. I don't see why this is a bad thing.
Oh, I'm taking this to you, John. Which one's worse here?
Yeah, I think the dance is worse. I mean,
Wait. Are you saying the dance is better or worse, Mike? Let me go back to you, Mike.
Oh, no, I like the dance. Like, that's great.
He thinks the first one's 1 out of 3 fails, but you think the dance challenge of 13 factors is worse, yes?
Yeah.
Why is that, John?
Because no one's gonna do that. You're gonna break the business.
Because he doesn't like fun. Like, this is very clear. Like, because John doesn't like fun.
This will get boring real fast. This is like being in kindergarten and you're doing some game and you have to repeat the same thing 13 times over.
Oh, can we have Simon Says as part of as one of the 13?
People will get really bored really fast.
Red light, green light.
Yeah.
Pete and repeat sitting on a wall. Pete falls off. Who's remaining?
No, so you will just crush your employees if you make them do 13 factors to log in. Yes.
Oh yeah.
What number do you think the breaking point would be? We're currently at 2. What would be the breaking point? People say I've had enough. Would it just be 3, or could it be how high do you think you could go?
I feel like anytime we add any additional step, even if it's just one additional step, people freak out.
I mean, and to be fair, what we have today, 2-factor authentication, it's one of 3 factors. Any of these 13, there's probably not 13 unique factors. It's probably like doing something 12 times or something you are 5 times. Like, there's
10 security questions.
Yeah, the reality is we don't have that many factors available to us.
You never thought of the dance challenge until now.
Well, I'm here for it. I am literally going to send an email after this and ask my team to investigate adding a dance challenge to our workforce authentication platform.
Can I tell you something? I was playing, it wasn't exactly, but I was playing one of these Dance Revolution type games with my son. Nothing makes you feel more uncoordinated than playing that game.
Yeah, actually, that's better. Like, that's part of one of the factors is how far can you get in DDR? Like, if you can't make it past level 5, then you can't authenticate.
That would be fun to watch.
Could this possibly work?
If you look at the cybersecurity news, it's easy for CISOs to become reactive. There's always new risks and threats to account for. So how do CISOs move into being more strategic? Jimmy Arbelez of Methodist Le Bon Cure Healthcare argued on LinkedIn that this requires bringing GRC to the boardroom, positioning it as an investment to protect revenue and enable growth, not just another compliance overhead cost. So sounds good, but what's the actual first step, John, you can take to make that transition to bring GRC to the boardroom? And have you?
Yeah, I mean, GRC is kind of like CIA, like we talked about before. It's concrete, it's easy to understand, and so I think leadership understands the importance of compliance, but there's an extra step to that, obviously, making sure that they understand that being compliant doesn't mean you're secure. Compliance is kind of the baseline, the first step. So yeah, I bring in that. I make sure they understand the top threats to our organization based on our industry, based on what we're seeing in the wild, and make sure that they understand some of the investments they're making are going to help us protect against those and to minimize the risk for the business. And they're hardcore businessmen. I mean, the bottom line is what's the cost? So I have to get really creative. And I know the reason I mentioned that is my next year's budget, for instance, like a lot of companies with the economic uncertainty, there's been a lot of reduction in force, there's been a lot of budget cuts. And so my budget amount for next year is way less than what it was for this year. But I've been able to invest in a lot of great technology to continue to enhance my program because I'm really diving in and leveraging AI startups. And with the startups and the founders, the ones that get it, they understand like having my name and the company's name as an early adopter is more valuable than making $1 day one, right? They need exposure. That's what really, really hit a chord with my CFO is he's like, wait a minute, so you're telling me we can enhance the program and you're saving the company money. He's like, so it tastes great and less filling, John? I'm like, yes, sir. And he's like, you're a wizard. But I think people need to do that. I know we've talked about AI a little bit, but I think not just the business embracing AI to innovate and have a competitive advantage, but from a security side, it's the only way you can keep up with the volume and speed of the threats and the alerts. In fact, like I had to reduce 2 SOC analysts, which I only had 2 SOC analysts. I did transition a help desk analyst over as a SOC analyst, but the only way, so we were going to be essentially dead in the water. And so I made sure that my leadership clearly understood. I said, we have to invest in an AI SOC. That's the only way we're going to be able to continue to protect the company. So we've done that, and I'm excited about it. I know a lot of CISOs and a lot of cyber leaders are real hesitant and really concerned about having your level 1, level 2 triaging done by agentic AI, but it's been a game changer for me and my program.
All right. I love John's take on creative negotiations that support the business and your security program. And we've talked about this before with regards to working with startups, and I didn't think that could all sort of play into a GRC program on top of it all. Have you had kind of the same experience with your board doing sort of creative sort of growth in security programs, working with vendors that support business efforts?
For sure. And I really do think John points out that there's a lot of opportunity there where you have a startup who's doing something new, innovative, that can really help you out. And what you're putting back into it isn't dollars, you're putting experience. Like those startups, they're getting something for the discounts that they're giving. And what they're getting back is that experience of working with a John who has this experience, who has a real environment and real challenges that they can't really get elsewhere. Like they can probably go and find some other startups to support, but they're not going to get the same value that they will out of working with John. And we see the same thing where we've had some startups. We were actually a very early customer for a company who recently had a very large acquisition, and they got a lot of value out of that partnership with us. We see it time and time again. And I totally agree with John. Like, look for those opportunities. It is mutually beneficial for everybody involved. Just recognize that you're putting some of your time back into that in order to make it work.
By the way, I will quote a mentor who told me, like, when I was personally starting out in business, I was frustrated with getting my price negotiated down. And when I was talking with, he was in the process of launching his third business. And when I said that to him, he goes, oh, geez, you're starting out? Don't worry about the money. Just get the stories.
Yep.
And I go, what? And he goes, yeah. You need the stories to be able to sell the business. And I was looking at his, and it dawned on me, I didn't even look at what he was doing. He had this portfolio of clients that were either completely pro bono or paying him half what he normally would get. And he was collecting stories, and he could not have been more right. In fact, because I remember we did something early on with Microsoft, and that story was so phenomenal, and having such a blue chip early partner that allowed, and being able to tell that story, which was one of the things that would look like it was going to become a failure but turned into a success. Those are, by the way, the best ones to tell. Business started landing left and right after that. And I think, I'm assuming that's what all these startups want.
Yeah. They need exposure. They need early adopters.
They need that story.
Yeah.
Hey, coming up on this week's security tip, we've got a warning that moving over to passkeys will actually make you less secure, but it's not what you think. Stay tuned.
This week's security tip is brought to you by Tenable, the exposure management company.
Don't let old passwords become new exposure paths. When organizations move to passkeys, it's a major win for security. Yay! Passkeys eliminate phishing risk, remove password fatigue, and close off entire categories of credential-based attacks. But there's a hidden danger that often gets overlooked. The old passwords don't go away. They linger, active, valid, and forgotten. Unless it's explicitly revoked, the password just sits there as a legitimate login method. And forgotten credentials are some of the most dangerous. They're more likely to be reused across personal accounts, more likely to appear in breach dumps, and more likely to be exploited without anyone noticing. In the rush to modernize authentication, it's shockingly easy for old passwords to, quote, take a ride in a breach and still work inside your environment. This is a critical exposure management issue. Make sure that enabling passkeys automatically disables legacy authentication for every user across every identity store. Audit for accounts, including service accounts. They're still configured to accept passwords, and integrate credential hygiene into your EM program so outdated login paths don't become invisible attack routes. When you create the passkey, then replace the existing password with a random password of exceptional length. Give the customer the ability to reset it via email as a standard recovery procedure, and then start the process over again. New password, new passkey. That way, if the database is stolen and/or hacked, or the username is compromised elsewhere, a simple password or reused one is never a problem.
This has been your weekly security tip. To learn more about exposure management, go to Tenable.com. As a CISO, what do you think about this?
Quote, when you say people are the weakest link, what you really mean is we built a broken system, trained no one properly, ignored usability, and now we're blaming the humans who had to navigate the mess, end quote. Love that quote. That's Joshua Copeland of Crescendo, and that's his unpopular opinion, and he's calling out what he sees as lazy leadership. If your users keep clicking bad links, ignoring MFA, or finding workarounds, that's not malice. They're showing you where the friction lives. Good point. Most policies are written for auditors, not people. He bluntly said, quote, humans are the most honest mirror of how bad our design really is. End quote. Can you actually use that mindset? Every failure is a design problem, not a people problem, as a means to bolster your security program. This seems like right on the money here, Mike. Or does that thinking let people off the hook when they generally don't follow basic security hygiene? Also a good point. What's your take?
This is one of my favorite topics. It's the basis of my rant against fish testing employees.
Yes.
If you have set up your system such that if somebody clicks on a link, it's not them who's failed. It's your security program. And that's really how we need to think about things. I don't, is Joshua Copeland's opinion here unpopular? It shouldn't be. We really should be recognizing that we have humans. They work for our company. We have to recognize that they are going to be humans. We can't ask them to be any different. So we have to design such that they are going to make mistakes and our system remains resilient. We have to design our system so that we're not having them jump through 13 hoops in order to get something done. We really need to recognize that the value of the company. In almost every company, the vast majority of the spend is for employees, is for salaries. The company needs to get the value out of that, and we need to support the employees both in making it easy for them to get their jobs done and recognizing that they are going to make mistakes.
So you are the proponent that, yes, people make mistakes, but this is a sort of a two-sided issue. I mean, you have to have some level of human security hygiene. And at the same time, you need to build out your security program. And also human behavior does signal where there could be flaws. John, agree, disagree?
No, I agree. That's something I've really drilled into my team for the last 3 years, like with our program, is we have to minimize operational impact. Everything we do, if we make the controls too stringent or too uncomfortable and there's too much impact to the business.
Like 13 factors?
Like 13 factors, they're just going to bypass our process anyway.
Right.
They're going to find a workaround. I was like, so it's on us to make sure that we thoroughly test everything, we minimize operational impact, make it as easy as possible and easy for them to adopt to, and then they'll follow it. And that's why I've always kind of been anti the whole zero trust thing. I mean, I know it's a buzzword and I have always hated it, because if you fully implement zero trust, the company can't exist. The company can't operate. I mean, sure, there's areas where you can implement it and there's flavors of it, but I think you have to create an environment where you are minimizing the risk, but it's risk management. It's not risk avoidance, right?
Mm. Yeah, well, it's zero trust is also asking you to bring risk down to zero too, which is not possible.
Yeah, it's impossible. And you have to partner with them. You have to talk to them. Like I said, you have to explain the why. You got to communicate. You got to make sure that people are given the chance to ask questions and raise concerns. Because if your employees, your team members understand the why, they feel like they're partnering with you and that you're not just shoving it down their throats, they're more likely to follow your process and your policies.
But here, let me close out, though, with one quick question from both of you. Super quick. Mike, have you seen a human behavior and you're like, oh, we have to fix the security program because people are doing this regularly? Anything?
Well, I think the fish testing is one of those where people don't trust the security team because we keep fish testing them. That's something that we have to fix because people are having a behavioral reaction to something that we're doing.
A negative reaction.
Exactly. That's something that we need to fix.
And I'll ask you the same question, John. Anything that you noticed of human behavior and said, oh, security program needs to change because of this behavior?
Yeah, our AI adoption, like our general counsel sent out a mandate, said no one can use AI until we have guardrails and a policy. So my team blocked all AI platforms. As far as we knew, I'm sure there were ones that slipped through, but as soon as we blocked them, people started screaming and, "Hey, what'd you do this?" Well, you saw the mandate. People are going to do it anyway, right? So we had to kind of adjust and stand up, our AI steering committee and kind of, rather than saying no, you can't, yes, you can, but let's partner. Let's help you do this the right way.
All right. Well, that brings us to the very end of the show. John, thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank our sponsor, and that would be Vanta. Remember, Vanta.com/CISO. Go there to automate compliance, manage risk, and accelerate trust with AI. No more manual nonsense. Have it done continuously. No single point in time. Go to Vanta.com/CISO. Remember, add that /CISO. Let them know that you heard about them through the CISO series. A huge thanks to you, Mike. And another huge thanks to you, John, for joining us today. And thanks to our audience. As we always say, we greatly appreciate your contributions. I'm not just blowing smoke here. And by the way, if you cancel with us, I will not send you a note that I'm going to charge your credit card for another year. But nice. We don't want you to cancel with us. Please stay with us. It's free to listen to us. Thank you for listening to the CISO Series podcast.
That wraps up another episode. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do. We have lots more shows on our website, CISOSeries.com. Please join us on Fridays for our live shows, Super Cyber Friday, our virtual meetup, and Cybersecurity Headlines Week in Review. This show thrives on your input. Go to the Participate menu on our site for plenty of ways to get involved, including recording a question or a comment for the show. If you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, contact David Spark directly at david@cisoseries.com. Thank you for listening to the CISO Series podcast.